Hi, this is another installment exploring our 5-year vision plans at this stage, where we get to have a chance to explore and discuss together the different ingredients presented so far. One of the key features of our previous video was focusing on possible models that we can derive from Jesus' own way of doing church. Looking at how Jesus operated with the 12 as a particular mode, a particular way of connecting. What I wanted to talk about in this third of the series is to see how transferable some of that is, and to see if we can make that shift from how we presently focus on church as it is into a new way of thinking of church. And finding a creative way of getting there. So just to recap on our present mode of being church, like I said in the very first video, the main mode of operation for the existing community of faith is a focus on our church services. Granted, not all of them are on Sundays, and there are a number of other things that happen around the place in terms of our expression of church. But the core vehicle for us for many decades, possibly even longer, has been church services. That's been the main expression of faith. The problem that occurs with that kind of expression is it flies in the face of all the hints we've ever had from God at St. John's, even before my arrival as vicar, to do with our accessibility and availability. One of the key prophetic images that came out of previous discernment for the future of the church was the church without walls, the idea of a large tented area with no walls, like a marquee with no walls, accessible, available. What we presently have are meetings in solid buildings at designated times, where the highest percentage you can imagine of people who attend these are already members, people who are already committed, they're already attenders on a regular basis. These services are not easily accessible. Culturally, they're bound. The language we use, the times we meet, the things we do are all very much exclusive, and in that respect resistant and difficult for a new person to kind of connect with. Unless they're a de-churched person and has some way back in to understand the language and the ways and the means and the rituals that are employed, such an experience is almost traumatic for a new person to come into. We already work quite hard at being welcoming into our services, and that's out of a natural understanding that it's going to be difficult for people to even come through the door of our buildings, to have any idea as to what's going to happen once they get there. And that whole struggle of how do they survive the next hour and a bit with a bunch of strangers, not really knowing what's going to go on. Will they be asked to do anything weird? Will they be asked to engage in any way that they're not comfortable with? So there's a whole host of sociological reasons why our present mode, our present services aren't easy for new people. And we just need to have a think. How can we make it as easy as possible for new people to connect to Jesus and to this faith community? So what I'm proposing is a shift from hidden church, church with walls, exclusive church, a shift from exclusive church to available church, church that's easily accessible and in contact with the wider community. What I want to present and talk about are what I'm tentatively calling connect groups, groups that are of a smaller scale than our large Sunday gatherings, connect groups that have three specific points of connection going on, and all three are absolutely vital. The first point of connection is that the vast majority of individuals in this little group are devoted to and committed to Jesus, connected to Jesus. That individual heart response to him is there and is growing and is the significant driving force in that individual's lives. Connected to Jesus is the number one connection. The second connection is connected to each other, gathered around Jesus, but connected to each other. In other words, not just independent Christianity where we do whatever we like as individuals, but intentionally connected as a group around Jesus, sharing as a family, sharing as a team. Those two particular expressions fleshed out as a group where, like family, we support and care for each other, but like team, we also have shared tasks and shared goals that we want to achieve together. So that's the second connection, connected to each other. And the third connection, which is a key distinctive that makes this kind of group very different from a standard home group or small group, connected intentionally to whatever needs or networks Jesus leads the group to, or Jesus leads individuals to. In other words, this isn't simply a home group for the support and nurture of existing people. This is a group that is devoted to Jesus and to his ongoing ministry in the world. And just as he did with the 12, where he would be responding to various needs and networks as the Holy Spirit led him beyond the group, so these connect groups would have a third connection that is absolutely essential: to be sensitive to the leading of the Spirit of Jesus, to follow his lead into needs around, into networks that are presently nearby, that we can find meaningful connection with. This is the key thing that would make our church experience available and accessible to other people. Now, this group isn't an add-on to what we traditionally call church. This actually becomes the primary expression of what church is. This becomes the centre, the main thing of what church is all about. Connect groups, individuals connected to Jesus, individuals gathered as a group around Jesus and connected to each other, and the whole group and individuals connected in a conscious way to the leading and guiding of Jesus as he moves us into connecting with needs and networks around. To supplement this particular picture, I wanted to share with you as well some of the core phrases and images that have come out of our prayerful times, our times of trying to discern intuitively what the Spirit might be saying to us at this time. And a group of people have been meeting with me to pray and think about what we do next, looking forward for 5 years. Certain words have come to the fore on a regular basis. One word was the word adaptive, rather than something that is fixed and restricted, but adaptive, able to move freely. Another word was cooperative, the idea that it would be linked into other things and joined into other things. And that may well have a bearing for not only St. John's, but maybe some of the other church communities in the town. At the moment, that's one of those themes that is a happy development in the town. But the word cooperative could be a key value that is built into how we start to think and operate as church in a deeper way than perhaps before. There was one phrase that was very potent that came out, and it was a shift from moving the church from cartoon to real, as though there was a transition from a kind of a sketch to something more realistic going on, which was really quite a challenging phrase. The idea that perhaps presently or previously there has been only the beginnings, the outlines of what God has for us, but a move towards something more tangibly vibrant, deeply honest, maybe even wrestling with the harder aspects of faith, maybe creating circumstances where heart and mind and the whole of who we are is shared at a deeper level, not only with each other, but with the wider world. That shift from cartoon to real, a very potent and challenging kind of image. Another beautiful picture came of people from the church community somehow carrying bread and wine out into the wider community, as though this such precious symbol, this precious sacramental image that we have, was to be not just held within our own circle, but taken out onto the streets and shared in such a way that others would be able to reach it and receive it and eat it and drink it because it was so close to them. A really powerful image. And one that relates directly to that, which I'll leave with you as a final image to toy with, is the image of dandelions. Someone shared a fairly in-depth kind of visionary picture of dandelions scattered and growing in the grass, growing in lawns, growing down the sides of rivers. You know where dandelions are. They pop up in cracks. They appear all over the place. And in some respects, the common perception of dandelion is that they're a weed that we want to get rid of. But the thought that came through this particular image was that the dandelion is an extremely adaptive, resilient, brilliant at spreading kind of plant. Really good at operating as little units that would just spread all over the place and suddenly emerge, almost like out of thin air, caught by the breeze, blown with seeds in the air and landing wherever and growing. A really potent image again. Maybe a picture of how small-scale church could not just be held in one place, but scattered by the wind of the Spirit in all kinds of directions. Those are some of the images that have helped form our thinking towards this new model for church. So to finish with again, just a couple of thoughts to consider. I wonder how you might feel about the idea that Jesus still wants to lead groups like he did with the 12. Just imagine for a moment Kenilworth and all of our networks influenced by dozens and dozens of groups focused on Jesus, working together, connecting to needs and networks around. Maybe this could be the vision God has set before us, this idea of long term, hundreds of groups, but maybe in the next 5 years, say 50 plus connect groups, busy engaging with the wider world, sharing what Jesus wants them to share, sharing his message, sharing his ministry, bringing individual transformation, deepening and bringing social transformation because they're engaged in the wider world and able to do it. Just have a think about that and maybe explore it in discussion and see if that kind of vision starts to capture your imagination. Thanks.